They say life will always find a way, and over the last 5 weeks we've certainly learned that to be true. Having stocked up on everything we'd need for one of our most challenging quests yet, we've since been bombarded with unforeseen failures, forcing us to get creative and really live up to our increasing reputation as the Scottish MacGyvers. We like to think that our particular brand of improvisation can see us through almost anything. However, following a recent disagreement between our diesel and the fuel tank that contained it, we now find ourselves low on fuel on a remote island in the South Pacific, still 700 miles from our goal. There are certainly worse places to be stuck, but we're determined to continue our dream of the Gambiers Gamble.
So this morning's mission is to go over to that container ship and sweet talk them into giving us some diesel. The tank on this side of the boat is basically bone dry. The other side is pretty good. We haven't actually used all that much fuel, we just lost a lot. So we might do a bit of a splash and dash into the tank, because if the guy says yes, then hey, why not? But ultimately the goal is to get fuel in this side of the boat so that we can get both engines operational again and carry on our merry way. Big step.
Yeah.
I didn't wait for the bounce on the boat. It's like I pushed it down, thinking I'd get the launch.
Yeah.
I went down, and tried to jump. All right, moderate success. We had a little meeting there with the foreman, I guess his term would be.
The bursar.
Bursar. There's probably a proper nautical term for it.
Pirate term.
Yeah, okay, but we'll go with that, the bursar. And he was a bit confused at first, but then he's like, well, if you can bring the boat to us, which we then looked and said, well, how about we bring our jerry cans? So it's going to be multiple trips, but I think we've basically organised for 1 barrel of diesel. And then we just dinghy up with our 4 jerry cans, fill them from the barrel, run them back to Indy, repeat, and then eventually we should empty the barrel and fill Indy.
Yeah, and we have an hour and a half to do this before the supply ship leaves. So that should be plenty of time, but it's going to be a little bit of a push.
Okay.
To get there. It's fine, it's all good, it's all fine.
I feel like queuing up A-Team music, but that's copyright. So we'll find some suitable, tense, mission accomplished type music and we'll get going. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just going to film this quickly on my phone, but in a fun turn up for the Bigs, turns out they have a barge with a filler hose, and so they're going to bring their barge over to Indioko, and we're going to fill directly from the barge, which is going to save us a ton of hassle, because we were just getting all of our jerry cans ready, and we were going to have to do this multiple times over. But instead, turns out we have our own filling station coming to us.
As they're coming over, we are just pouring in some biocide stuff to protect it, because hopefully the diesel is good and clean, but we have no idea what the quality of it is. So we're doing whatever we can.
We actually got a bunch of this and had treated this tank. And now we lost all of that diesel. So we only have 2 bottles left. But fortunately, this stuff, the biocide fuel treat Australia, apparently this is just enough to treat 1 tank of our boat from scratch. So if we put it in now, then when these guys turn up and start decanting 200 litres of diesel into this tank, it should all mix up and hopefully protect us from diesel bug and general muck.
Yeah.
Hopefully, at last.
At last.
There we go.
So we're filling up, well, we're not. They are filling up our tank for us, but we just have to make sure that we don't overfill it and spill some. When this one gets filled, we will get our 4 jerry cans, and hopefully that will fit the whole tank, the whole 200 litres into those.
Excellent. Merci, mon ami. Merci.
Well, I don't think I've filled up with fuel like that before.
That's first for us, yeah. Your very personal barge comes over the size of a truck.
I know, right? You're on anchor, but here's some land.
Yeah, what's fun is our little, what do you call it, our rabble offenders.
Our chaos
Our
offenders.
chaos offenders somehow managed to protect Indy. So we haven't got any black marks all down the side that I expected.
Yeah, we didn't do too badly there.
And we got more diesel in than I was expecting. Maybe I've just got my conversions wrong. Because we know we have 70 gallons aside, and I thought that converted to 200 litres. But then maybe it's like US gallons, imperial metric gallon conversion. I don't know, I'll have to check.
Yeah, so we ended up putting the whole of that tank into this fuel tank on this side, which we were expecting to overfill. So either we got our numbers wrong or that wasn't a full tank. But they did break the seal to open it.
They broke the seal, and I did send you inside to check that we weren't just filling the bilge up, because that was a concern.
Yes.
Having recently replumbed.
Yes, thankfully all the fuel that we put into the boat is still in the tank, which I'm going to say is a win. Well done.
That is a win. We have a full. We don't know if it's full. We're going to turn the ignition on and find out.
Yeah, some diesel in a tank. That's more than we had yesterday.
So yeah, we were probably going to show you this when it was finished. However, we're using it right now, so we may as well introduce you to it, which is our very creative and improvised fuel polishing system. You can maybe wink it out. We actually picked up, it's actually a cheap Chinese knockoff of a Raycor, same type we're using in the dinghy. This has like a paper filter in the top and then this glass jar below. So the fuel comes in, gets swirled around into the glass jar and separates off the water and some of the debris. And then it basically feeds in through the paper filter to then go out through, and it's getting sucked by an electric diesel pump, fuel pump. It's annoyingly noisy, so we're gonna have to work on that. It's always better to suck the fuel than it is to push it into the filter. So we're sucking it out of the Raycor and then it just gets fed back in, and we've just spliced it into the breather hose actually for the tank. We're hoping that we're going to pull out any water that might separate in there, any dirt, and ultimately capture all in that Raycor and stop us getting any more diesel bug in the future. At least that's the hope.
Well, the supply ship has now left. It's headed out the pass. We are fully topped up with diesel. We did a little bit of Googling, figured out that we did our maths wrong, and we could actually fit 265 litres in our tanks, which is why the 200 litres didn't fill it. So we just did pop to shore and get another 4 jerry cans worth. So our jerry cans are now full as well, and we are all set to go. The rain has just arrived, perfect timing. We're going to head out the pass and set sail. We are going to Amanu again. Should be 2 days. Let's hope it's better than the last one. So there's no wind this afternoon, which normally we would avoid setting sail on a passage when there's no wind because we don't like to motor. But this is a good test to check that our fuel is all connected up and the fuel tank is holding, and we may as well use the fuel now that we have it. It also means that the pass is so perfectly flat as we leave, because there are basically no waves outside because there's been no wind for a couple of days. So we'll motor for a little bit and then hopefully the wind will fill in tonight and we will get the sails up and get moving tomorrow. But it's quite a nice start for what I feel like we're due a nice sail. I have been struggling with some of the upwind beating that we have been doing. And yeah, we are due a really perfect sail now. That's what I'm hoping for. Well, Makimo has been lovely, but well done you on making us leave.
Making us leave.
Allowing us to leave. Fixing an entire fuel tank and then getting it filled up and getting us out the pass.
It's kind of mental.
Impressive.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on in this passage, but it's weird because we just started to say we're quite like Makimo. The people are really nice and friendly, and it's a nice place.
Yeah.
But we are trying to achieve the Gambiers Gamble, and between you and I, we've been trying to achieve it on a faster time scale than we're currently doing. So we've got to get on to the next place. And it's way more fun to travel anyway.
Yeah, I have really struggled kind of stopping in so many places, but only stopping long enough to do a repair and not actually exploring. And so here, having a little bit of time to walk around the village has just given me so much life, because we thrive in new places and the unfamiliar. And so leaving today, yes, it's sad to be leaving Makimo, but we're going to a completely new atoll that we've never been to before. So it's that's exciting. That is what is pulling us forward. So on to bigger and better things. No more breakages for us, please. We motored all the way along the north coast of Makimo, and then the winds were supposed to fill in, but they never arrived. So we ended up motoring all night. It is now 4:30 in the morning. The skies are getting pretty light already. And the forecast was completely wrong. So we were expecting the winds to fill in from behind us and give us a nice downwind run. There were going to be big patches of squalls and dead wind, so we were going to have to sort of wiggle our way through it all, but actually what we're seeing is like 10 to 12 knots coming from, I'm so tired I've lost the direction. I think they're coming from the east? Yes. We should be able to sail on a more direct route, which I suppose is a good thing, but it also means that we have no idea really what to expect. So we'll throw the sails up, we'll switch out, Ian will take a shift, and I will go and get some rest, and I guess we'll just see what the day holds.
We have finally managed to turn off the motor because it's a little bit wet. I don't know if you're going to be able to make this out, but it is like hammering it down. But it's come with a nice little bit of extra wind, so we are actually sailing it now, although I wouldn't say it's glorious, sun-kissed, beautiful sailing by any stretch.
It's just so noisy. Like, I can hardly hear you talking because the noise of the rain just hammering everywhere is so loud. We've had like 5 knots all day, and suddenly we've got like 20 to 25. Oh my goodness. The sound of the boat moving without engines is a delight. We don't have this constant...
So this is it. For all the people who are like, oh, these YouTube channels only show us when it's blazing sunshine and bikinis. You know, we got the line in, we're going to try and catch a fish. We're going to try and push our way south. So far, we have found every single weather forecast that we have is wrong. For where we are, we're basically just using our knowledge of how the wind travels in this part of the world. So these kind of little mini cyclone effects, if you like, of the wind means they're traveling in a clockwise direction where we are at the moment. And so we're kind of following those. And our theory is that when we see the wind coming from the north, it means we're in front of a big low. And then if it turns west, that means we're on the top of that low. And if the wind is coming from the south, then we're on the back side of the low. So we're going to try and use that style of navigation to get us to Omani. I'm not sure how well it's going to work out.
On the plus side, I'm not having to hand steer because our autopilot is working. And after like, I don't know, I've lost count, 12 hours of motoring, the engines work because we've got fuel in our tank and it's not in the bilge. So I know that it looks horrible and there's not very much to celebrate, but we are going to celebrate the things that work. We've had enough like terrible passages that now I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, I figure this is just what happens when you try and head to the Southern Ocean. Apparently, it rains a lot. I mean, we're not actually in the Southern Ocean, but we're on our way there. We are definitely heading south.
We've got a little bit of respite now. The rain has stopped. We've had to bail out the dinghy quite significantly because the drain hole got slightly blocked. And basically the dinghy was half full of water. It was raining so much. But that is now clear. Unfortunately, the wind has died. So the engine is back on, the generator is away. But basically, I think the system is probably moving slightly faster east than we expected. So we thought we could stay ahead of it and get a nice downwind sail all the way. But actually, we're just sort of stuck in the no wind part. So we're hoping that it moves on overnight and we can get the sails up and maybe get a beam reach or something as we turn and make our way south. But I am just celebrating because there's a tiny little bit of blue sky. There is some definition and clouds and things, and we have just been able to see like nothing. The grey and the rain has given us about 100 meters of, what's that, 300 feet of visibility in front of us, which was quite alarming when I knew we were passing a tiny atoll, and now I can actually see it behind us, and it looks a lot closer than I thought it was. So yay for not running around. And yeah, we're just going to sit around for the evening and wait for the wind to come back, and hopefully we'll arrive tomorrow morning, but maybe that is a little bit too optimistic. We've been dodging lightning all night, but the skies have cleared a little bit now. The wind has picked up just a tiny bit, so we have the Genoa out, but there's not quite enough wind to turn the engines off. So this has been quite a frustrating, I can't even say sail, quite a frustrating passage because the forecast was just completely wrong and we've been stuck in this low system with no wind anywhere to be seen, and so we've just been alternating engines every 3 or 4 hours, and they've pretty much been running the whole time. But we're closing in. We are on our way towards the atoll where we're going to pull in, and we're just going to have to wait and see. The past times for this atoll are pretty unreliable for slack tide, so I think what we'll do is we'll just carry on, and then as we get closer we'll take a look and hopefully sneak through. If not, we'll have to hang around a little bit until things calm down, but it shouldn't be too terrible with like no swell and no wind today. And we're almost in a brand new place. So that's a good thing. Okay, we're 1 hour early. What do you think? Go or no go for the pass?
I mean, I'm so tempted just to try it. The irony is that the cargo ship that we got our fuel from are parked outside the pass right now. So I think they may have gone to one other atoll and then come here. So we've taken 2 days to get here, and in that time they've probably done 2 drops. But I was looking to see, because the barge that they supplied the fuel on for us, I think, because the cargo ship can't get through the pass, so I suspect they dropped the barge and it takes the supplies in. So I'm trying to see if the barge is on the cargo ship or if it's doing relays right now, because if it's doing relays, then we can absolutely go through, as long as we don't hit the barge.
Yes, tail in behind them rather than meet them in the middle.
Exactly, yeah. And if the barge isn't in the water yet, then maybe they're going to let us be the guinea pigs and we'll go first, and if it's okay, then they'll drop the barge. I don't know. I mean, from here, it looks okay, I'll be honest. The only problem is we've got 2 squalls behind us, and I don't think they're going to hit us. That one almost definitely won't, but that one might. So we might just do some donuts outside for a while if it does, and then go through and it's clear.
So we were just looking at the pass and saying this looks pretty good. The biggest chop is actually where we are right now, and it's really not that bad at all. So we're just going to go for it. And then when we looked out, we could see the barge coming out of the pass. So it's definitely a good time. If the barge can make it through, then we definitely can. So on we go. Yeah, I'm quite glad I'm not on the barge today, having to go through that.
I mean, they're about to try and lift the barge onto the container ship. That's going to be fun. I just saw the crane going over, and the chain is already swinging wildly under the crane.
Yeah, when we saw them loading the barge back onto the ship in the anchorage in Makimo, the whole ship like leaned over to one side as it picks the barge up. I do not fancy doing that here in the swell. You might have noticed that we just turned around. So as we got closer to the pass, some of the standing waves looked slightly bumpier than we thought they did. And we're like an hour early. So we figured it should be dying down. We may as well take the time to just come, basically just do a little loop-the-loop, pop back out here into the rolling swell instead of the breaking swell. It is quite a narrow pass, so it's not very long. And if we wait for it to get calm, it'll be absolutely fine. But we don't need to go through the big scary waves, so why would we? See, we are trying to learn. All right, we've turned around again, and we are heading attempt number 2 into the pass. Looks slightly better. I know that waves never look as big as they really are on camera, but I'm really hoping that you could see some element of how big those waves were. We can never tell. When you're like riding with the waves, you can never tell how big they are when you're behind them. So we kind of got to the point of no return where it was like, oh, these are a little larger than we thought, but then there's nothing you can do. And the boat was sort of like slipping and sliding either side as we went through. And that was the narrowest pass we have ever been through. I have no idea how Ian manages to control the boat, but he got us through without hitting anything, without me even being too scared about it. So yes, very grateful that he got us through that. I would not have been able to do that. Well done, that was seriously impressive.
That was by far the trickiest pass we have ever done.
Yeah, that was so narrow.
Twice we nearly hit into the reef, like the wave would pick you up and throw you towards one side.
Yeah.
And because it's so narrow, you'd kind of try and jackknife yourself back again. But the corrections, it's like over and understeer, depending what the wave is doing underneath the boat. So.
Well, at one point I actually
sketchy.
turned around because I thought you were calling it. I thought you were turning around to bail out.
It was close.
And then I was like, oh no, that's just the wave pushing, like spinning the boat.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, that was dodge, and that's supposed to be when it was perfectly timed. So I don't think our calculator, which is called the guesstimator,
Yeah.
was guessing wrong today, because that was not right.
Yeah, and we knew that for this atoll, it's not very correct. A lot of people say they've come in and it's been like 3 hours out, and they've gone in, tried to go in once and bailed and gone in a second time. And I thought that's what we were doing, but I don't know. Maybe we needed to wait another
We did.
3 hours.
No. We did go in once and then bailed. We
I
went
know,
really
that's
close
what I'm
and that was
saying. I
right.
thought we were doing it right, but clearly we had to like wait even longer.
3 tries, yeah. Third time you're right.
Oh well,
We're in now.
And we made it in just before the rain arrived. I think we're anchored okay. It's a super deep anchorage and it's like in a horseshoe of coral. So as long as the wind doesn't shift too much, then we shouldn't swing into the reef. There are 5 boats just the other side, but I think they're on 5 new mooring balls. So they have all been taken and there's none left for us. So I guess if somebody leaves, then we can hop onto that. But otherwise, we've got this whole little horseshoe bay all to ourselves. Thing is, I'm going to pull it in and then I want to try and sit down, and by the time I sit down, it's going to have disappeared. Use the force.
Just jump.
I can't even reach it. I'm going to have to come back for all the stuff. Oh wait, I'm not tied on. I can't come back for all the stuff.
No, you've got one choice, one chance.
I'm holding onto the ring on the wall.
Better not let go.